to get back to our discussion now on immigration and a generation caught up in the debate. They are teenagers who grew up in the United States as illegal immigrants. They say that status will cost many of them their dreams for college. Congress is now considering some changes. Gumecindo Salas is in full support of those reforms. He's with the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. Welcome to you. And on the other side of the debate, Ira Mehlman of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, or FAIR for short. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you for being here. Mr. Salas, tell me, first off, why you support the DREAM Act.
Well, I think that it's the DREAM Act on the effort to bring and allow immigrants into the United States. It's a long history. And in fact, the country was founded on immigration to this country. And as a matter of fact, the greatness of this country, all the great inventions and the great new ideas have developed have come from immigrants. In fact, we can look and notice that a large number of Nobel Prize winners have been immigrants to the United States. So this is not something new.
Sure, but I think, to be fair, is it not more about legal immigration?
Well, the country, the United States, has had different policies in place in terms of how people can come to the United States. Currently, we have a large number of individuals who have come here in search of work, no different than other immigrants have come here. And they've raised their children. Their children are here, and they're long-term residents. They have very little understanding, knowledge of the country from which their parents immigrated from. So in all respects, they are Americans, and they speak English, and their culture is American culture, and they're in schools. And in fact, they're excelling in schools. They're doing extraordinarily well in their academics.
Mr. Mehlman, do you agree with that?
Well, you know, you have to recognize that the children are here because the parents brought them here illegally. And that is the responsibility of the parents, not of American society.
Right. So what do you do now for this particular generation?
Well, what you have to do is hold the parents accountable. You cannot ask other people's children to make those sacrifices. You know, you interviewed Mateus a few moments ago. The person you did not interview was the kid who didn't get into UCLA, who couldn't realize his or her dreams or aspirations. You didn't talk to the person who can't get access to financial aid because you have illegal aliens who, under the DREAM Act, would be able to get access to that much-needed assistance to go to college.
So, Mr. Salas, does he have a point by saying that someone like Mateus actually took the slot of an American who could not, a legal American citizen who could not get into college?
That's absolutely not true. Universities make an effort to recruit more students, and we have many universities that actually have room for other students, so that's not the issue. The other issue, of course, that keeps coming up is they're taking other students' spots. Most universities have a procedure, and they have a criteria for selection of students. These students, the ones that would be targeted by the DREAM Act, are students who have done exemplary well. Many of them are salutatorians, valedictorians. They're honor students. So they're not taking spots from other students. They're competing, and that's the issue of the United States. Competition. These students compete and
okay,
able to get in.
Mr. Mehlman, should they be allowed to compete? Is that a fair point to be making?
No, American students should not have to compete with people who are here illegally. You know, the bottom line is you have schools like UCLA which turn away far more students than they accept. These seats are at a premium, especially at a time when, for most middle-class American families, a private university education is simply out of reach. State university seats are at a premium. They're not going begging. They have more applicants than they can accept every year. These are excellent schools, and there are Americans who really do want to go to those schools. The other thing is that, as a resident of California, Mateus was actually getting a better deal at UCLA than a student in another state who also had competed and was admitted to UCLA.
All right,
so he was actually getting a better deal than an American.
Well,
we have to wrap it up, but there's got to be some sort of compromise, is there not? Mr. Salas, I'll give you a statement, and then I will go to Mr. Mehlman for a statement as well. Mr. Salas, you first.
Well, I just think that level of thinking is really not good.
Okay, but what should be done?
Well, the role of university is to select students and educate them for the needs of the society and the culture. So we always want the best students who can make major contributions to the well-being of the society and of the culture. And so we're looking for those students who have exemplified that specialness in the high school. That's why students get awards as salutatorian valedictorians, and ultimately many of these young kids end up being the future leaders and
all
end
right,
up
so
being
you're talking
the
about
discoverers.
exemplary students. That's what
And
you're
they all
talking
are.
about. And Mr. Mehlman, last word here.
The need and obligation of any society is to be able to provide the opportunities that law-abiding citizens ought to expect. And when you start admitting people who are in the country illegally and giving them very valuable seats at state universities, in essence what you are doing is undermining the interests of your own students who also have the ability to contribute.
So what do you do? That is the question. You tell them all to go home and get their education and jobs in their own countries. That's what you're saying.
The obligation is on the part of the parents. Parents are responsible for the consequences of their actions on their children. It is Mateus's parents, not the rest of us, who put him in that situation.
But the segment was about Mateus, so that's what we're trying to decide here. Guys, it would be lovely to have you another day and talk even further about this very volatile subject, obviously. Gumacino Salas, thanks so much for your time, and Ira Mehlman. Thank you, gentlemen.